Hare Krishna, my friends. Welcome to Bhaktiville. Here we are. We're starting a little late. That's okay. But we're here. Welcome to you all. Tonight, Bhakti Mimulus is here. Bhakti Greece is here. And hello to all of you out there in the ether, on the other side of the screen, on the other side of Second Life. Welcome. Tonight, we're reading the Teachings of Queen Kunti. I think we have 2 or 3 more chapters left, but tonight we're on chapter 24, titled Cutting Off Ties of Affection. This may sound a little controversial or like not so logical, but you'll see as we get into it that it has some very sound advice, and we can discuss as we go along. This chapter begins on page 198 of the PDF or page 177 of the book. But before we get started, please let me offer my obeisances. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is very dear to Lord Krishna, having taken shelter at his lotus feet. To all the devotees, past, present, future, and around the universe, Panchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripasindubhye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. I also offer my respectful obeisances unto the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They are just like desired trees and can fulfill the desires of everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Jai. So, I wanted to say, in a couple of weeks, we have a surprise coming. So I'm not going to tell you what the surprise is, otherwise it wouldn't be a surprise. So at the end of our reading, we'll have a party and a little surprise. An untold surprise. A surprise. All right. So you have to think about it. What could that surprise be? All right, so we've got there on the board, next to the left of Greece, tonight's verse. So let's go through that word for word. Trying to find it here on my computer. Word for word. Ata, therefore, Vishva Isha, O Lord of the universe. Vishva Atman, O soul of the universe. Vishva Murte, O personality of the universal form. Svakeshu, unto my own kinsman. My, Sneha Pasham, tie of affection. Imam, this. Chindi, cut off. Dridham, deep. Pandushu, for the Pandavas. Vrishnishu, for the Vrishnis also. In the verse in Sanskrit, Ata Vishvesha Vishvatman, Vishvamurte Svakeshu me, Sneha Pasham Imam Chinti, Dridham Pandusho Vrishnishu. This is Queen Kunti speaking. O Lord of the universe, soul of the universe, O personality of the form of the universe, please therefore sever my tie of affection for my kinsmen, the Pandavas and the Vrishnis. So there's some words that Prabhupada refers to in this Sanskrit verse. Vishva Isha, Lord of the universe. Vishva Atman, the soul of the universe. And Vishva Murti, the personality of the universal form. The personality. Vishva Murti. All right, so keep those little word tidbits in mind as we read on. Cutting off ties of affection. A pure devotee of the Lord is ashamed to ask anything in self-interest from the Lord, but the householders are sometimes obliged to ask favors from the Lord, being bound by the tie of family affection. Srimati Kunti Devi was conscious of this fact, and therefore she prayed to the Lord to cut off the affectionate tie from her own kinsmen, the Pandavas and the Vrishnis. The Pandavas are her own sons, and the Vrishnis are the members of her paternal family. Krishna was equally related to both families. Both the families required the Lord's help because both were dependent devotees of the Lord. Srimati Kunti Devi wished Sri Krishna to remain with her sons, the Pandavas, but by his doing so, her paternal house would be bereft of that benefit. All these partialities troubled the mind of Kunti, and therefore she desired to cut off the affectionate tie. A pure devotee cuts off the limited ties of affection for his family and widens his activities of devotional service for all forgotten souls. The typical example is the band of 6 Goswamis who followed the path of Lord Chaitanya. All of them belong to the most enlightened and cultured, rich families of the higher castes, but for the benefit of the mass of population, they left their comfortable homes and became mendicants. To cut off all family affection means to broaden the field of activities. Without doing this, no one can be qualified as a Brahmana, a king, public leader, or a devotee of the Lord. The personality of Godhead, as an ideal king, showed this by his example. Sri Ramachandra cut off the tie of affection for his beloved wife to manifest the qualities of an ideal king. Bhaktivinoda comments, I think she had to do that. How do you mean she had to do that? She had to ask for this boon from Krishna? In order to protect both families. Yes, probably so. Probably so. And we'll get into it a little more as Prabhupada goes on. She just turned to God and let that go. Yes. That's Bhakti Mimul's comment in chat. Yes. I just wanted to say that there, in India, that's a thing that people eschew family life. But it's that with most monastic traditions that they put aside that those family ties to pursue their spiritual endeavors and responsibilities. So Prabhupada continues. Such personalities as a Brahmana, a devotee, a king, or a public leader must be very broad-minded in discharging their respective duties. Srimati Kunti Devi was conscious of this fact. Being weak, she prayed to be free from such bondage of family affection. The Lord is addressed as the Lord of the universe, or the Lord of the universal mind, indicating his all-powerful ability to cut the hard knot of family affection. Therefore, it is sometimes experienced that the Lord, out of his special affinity toward a weak devotee, breaks the family affection by force of circumstances arranged by his all-powerful energy. By doing so, he causes the devotee to become completely dependent on him, and thus clears the path for his going back to Godhead. Greece has a comment. My sisters are snooty anyway. I won't miss them. Well, hopefully they're not listening, right? Kunti was the daughter of the Vrishni family, the wife and mother of the Pandava family. Generally, a woman has affection for both her father's family and husband's family, and therefore Kunti prays to Krishna, I am a woman, and women are generally attached to their families. So kindly cut off my attachment so that I may be thoroughly attached to you. Without you, both families are zero. I am falsely attached to these families, but my real purpose in life is to be attached to you. This is Bhakti. Chris says that his sisters are probably not listening to our broadcast tonight. Oh, that's too bad. Anyway, back to Prabhupada. Bhakti involves becoming free from the attachments of this material world and becoming attached instead to Krishna. One cannot become unattached, for one must be attached to something. But in order to become attached to Krishna or enter into the devotional service of the Lord, one has to become detached from material affection. People ordinarily go to Krishna to maintain their attachment to this material world. Oh God, they pray, give us our daily bread. They have attachment to this material world, and to live in this material world, they pray for supplies of material things so that they can maintain their status quo. This is called material attachment. Although in one sense, of course, it is good that people go to God to secure their material position. That is not actually desirable. Rather than worship God to increase one's opulence in the material world, one should become free from material attachment. For bhakti yoga, therefore, we should be detached. Our suffering is due to our attachment. Because we are materially attached, we desire so many material things, and therefore Krishna gives us the opportunity to enjoy whatever material facilities we want. Of course, one must deserve these facilities. First deserve, then desire. Suppose I want to become a king. I must have pious activities behind me so that I can become king. Krishna can give us whatever we want, even mukti, liberation. But bhakti is a special consideration, because when he gives someone bhakti, he becomes purchased by the bhakta, the person, and becomes a tool in the hands of the bhakta, even though he is the supreme powerful. Radharani, the symbol of the topmost bhakti, is so powerful that she has purchased Krishna. Therefore, Vaishnavas take shelter of the lotus feet of Radharani. For if she recommends, oh, here is a nice devotee, Krishna must accept him. To become a devotee of the Lord, one must be completely cleansed of all material attachment. This qualification is called vairagya. Upon becoming a student of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya wrote 100 verses praising him. Two of those verses are mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and one of them is this statement. Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga Shikshartam Eka Purusha Purana Sri Krishna Chaitanya Sharira Dhari Kripambudhiryastam Aham Prapadye. And the translation is, let me take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who has descended in the form of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to teach us real knowledge, his devotional service, and detachment from whatever does not foster Krishna consciousness. He has descended because he is an ocean of transcendental mercy. Let me surrender unto his lotus feet. And that's from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 254. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya thus offered his prayer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who had now assumed the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just to teach people how to develop knowledge, become detached, and become pure devotees of Krishna. Although when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was only 24 or 25 years old, he had a lovable, beautiful wife and a devoted, affectionate mother, he gave up everything and took sannyas, the renounced order of life. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a grihastha, a householder, he was so much honored that merely by the direction of his finger, he was able to enlist thousands of people to join him in a civil disobedience movement. In Nadia, the city where he lived, his position was very respectable, and physically he was very beautiful. Yet he gave up his young, faithful, beautiful wife, his affectionate mother, his position, and everything else. This is called vairagya, renunciation. If someone who has nothing to possess says, I've renounced everything, what is the meaning of his renunciation? But if one has something and then renounces it, his renunciation is meaningful. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's renunciation is unique. No one else could give up such a happy home, such honor, and such affection from his mother, wife, friends, and students. Even Advaita Prabhu, although the age of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's father honored Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, yet still Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave up everything. Why? Just to teach us. Apani Acharya Prabhu Jivare Shikaya. This is from, I didn't write this in my notes, but this is from a song that Srila Prabhupada wrote himself. Maybe it's later on. That's strange, my notes are not there. But anyway, he personally, Bhaktivinoda says, I did not know he wrote a song. He wrote many songs. Many songs. I'll post, I think there's a page of his different songs and poems. So that's, let me just, as a little side note, Greece says, it's funny, I backup DJ'd at Mott 2, and thus I was online for the Krishna reading tonight. If I didn't, I would have gone back to gaming. Well, there you go. See? It's all arranged. Krishna's arranged everything. So my little side note was, yes, Bhaktivinoda says Krishna arranged. My little side note is that one of the things that devotees do is make poems and songs for Krishna. So we may not be very good at it, but you got to start somewhere, right? So little poems and little songs for Krishna, and offer them to him, sing them to him. He likes that. All right, back to our text. So he personally taught the whole world how one must detach oneself and become a devotee of Krishna. That's the translation of the Apani Acharya Prabhu. Therefore, when Rupa Goswami resigned his post as a government minister and met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Prayag, he fell flat before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and offered obeisances with this prayer. Namo Mahabhadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gora Tvashe Namaha. The translation of that verse is, O most munificent incarnation, you are Krishna himself, appearing as Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You have assumed the golden color of Srimati Radharani, and you are widely distributing pure love of Krishna. We offer our respectful obeisances unto you. This prayer is one of 4 prayers that Prabhupada has asked us to chant when we offer our food to Krishna. Namo Mahabhadanaya. This is an important verse. Bhaktivinoda says, Bhaktivinoda says, I like that because he does that. Say that again, please. So this prayer, Namo Mahabhadanaya, is one of the 4 prayers that Prabhupada has asked us to recite when we offer prasadam to Krishna, when we offer bhoga to Krishna. You don't know if you know that one? Well, now you need to know that one. It's a good one. So there are 2 prayers to Srila Prabhupada, one to Lord Chaitanya, Gaur Nitai, and then one to Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. So do you want me to say all 4 of them? I'll just say them. So there's Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane. You know that one. Of course, when I'm put on the spot to say something, I can't remember it. Sorry. Okay, there's another one for Srila Prabhupada. Then this one, and then there's Namo Brahmanya Devaya, Namo Brahmanya Hitaya Cha, Jagat Hitaya Krishnaya, Govindaya Namo Namaha. You don't know that one. Okay, so that's the fourth one. And the second one is, I don't know. I'll come up with it. I'm sorry. So yeah, those four prayers are three prayers in the hidden one. stuck in my memory somewhere. All right, back to our text. You are most magnanimous, he prayed, for you are distributing love of Krishna. Bhakti Mimila says, I always say those prayers. I love them. I agree. There's something really special about this language, the Sanskrit language, that expresses things so succinctly and so beautifully and with such depth. Sometimes he says he agrees. Love of Krishna is not an easy thing to obtain, because by this love one can purchase Krishna. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu distributed this love of Krishna to anyone and everyone, even to the two drunkards Jagai and Madhai. Narottam Das Thakur therefore has sung, Dina Hina Yata Chila, Hari Name Udarila, Hara Sakshi Jagai Madhai. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so magnanimous that he delivered all kinds of sinful men simply by allowing them to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. The evidence of this is Jagai and Madhai. At that time, of course, there were two Jagais and Madhais, but at the present moment, by the grace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his process of teaching, so many Jagais and Madhais are being delivered. If Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is pleased, he can give Krishna Prema, love of Krishna, to anyone, regardless of that person's qualification. If a person is giving charity, he can select anyone to take it. So he's saying if Chaitanya is giving the charity, he can give it to anyone. Bhaktivinoda says, I'm debating whether I should tell you that I ordered a new set of Gornitai. We can talk about that later. But that's wonderful. That sounds great. All right. The thing about Lord Chaitanya is that he doesn't accept offenses. So if you're offensive or you do something, he just doesn't, he ignores it. He just ignores it. He doesn't accept them. So that's the mercy. What is this? Bhaktivinoda says in chat, the guy with no tilak. Oh, well, among his disciples, he was different. Yes, he says he banished him. So that's a little different. Back to our text. Without the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, understanding Krishna is very, very difficult. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati sityate. That's from Bhagavad Gita 7:3. And the translation for that whole verse is, out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection. And of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. And Prabhupada says here in the text, out of many millions of people, hardly one tries to make his life spiritually successful. People simply work like animals, not knowing how to make a success of human life. One's human life is successful when one understands Krishna. Otherwise, one remains an animal. Anyone who is not Krishna conscious, who does not know who Krishna is no better than an animal. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave this concession to the fallen souls of this age. Simply chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and you will be delivered. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's special concession. Kirtanad eva Krishnasya mukta sangha param brajet. And that's from Srimad Bhagavatam 12:351. And the full verse there is, My dear king, although Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults, there is still one good quality about this age. Simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, one can become free from material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom. Now, Kunti was not an ordinary devotee. She had become one of the relatives of Krishna, and therefore Krishna had come to offer her respects. But still, she said, Krishna, I have become attached to two families, my father's family and my husband's family. Kindly help me become detached from these families. Thus, she illustrated that one must become detached from society, friendship, and love, all of which will otherwise entangle us. As long as I think I belong to this family, I belong to this nation, I belong to this religion, I belong to this color, and so on, there is no possibility of becoming Krishna conscious. As long as one thinks that one is American, Indian, or African, that one belongs to this family or that family, or that one is the father, mother, husband, or wife of this or that person, one is attached to material designations. I am spirit soul, and all these attachments belong to the body, but I am not this body. This is the essence of understanding. If I am not this body, then whose father or whose mother am I? The Supreme Father and Mother is Krishna. We are simply playing the parts of father, mother, sister, or brother, as if on a stage. Maya, the material nature, is causing us to dance, telling us, you are a member of this family and a member of this nation. Thus we are dancing like monkeys. Reese says in chat, Ha, I was born in America, but I do not love my country. Okay, I think there is a little detachment there. If you take away the do not love part, then there is a little, some detachment there. In Bhagavad Gita 3:27, it is said, Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. The translation of that is the spirit soul, bewildered by the influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of activities that are actually carried out by the three modes of material nature. And Prabhupada says this verse indicates that because the living entity has associated with a certain quality of nature, nature is making him dance according to that quality, and thus one is thinking, I am this, or I am. This information provided in Bhagavad Gita is the basic principle of understanding, and it will give one freedom. The most essential education is that which enables one to become free from the bodily concept of life. But unfortunately, scientists, philosophers, politicians, and other so-called leaders are misleading people so that they become more attached to the body. It is the human life that offers the opportunity to become Krishna conscious. But these rascals are stopping that opportunity by alluring people to bodily designations, and therefore they are the greatest enemies of human civilization. One attains a human body after evolving through 8,400,000 life forms, from aquatics to plants, and then trees, insects, birds, beasts, and so on. Now, people do not know what is the next step in evolution, but that is explained in Bhagavad Gita 9:25. Yanti Deva Vrata Devan. And that verse, I'll just read the English translation. Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship the ancestors go to the ancestors. Those who worship ghosts and spirits and will take birth among such beings, and those who worship me will live with me. So back to our text. As the next step in evolution, one may, if one desires, go to a higher planetary system. Although every night people see so many planets and stars, they do not know what these higher planetary systems are. But from the Shastra, the Vedic literature, we can understand that on these higher planetary systems, material comforts are available that are many, many times greater than those on this planet. This planet, we may live for at most 100 years, but on the higher planetary systems, one can live for a lifetime we cannot even calculate. For example, the lifetime of Brahma, who lives on the highest planet, is stated in Bhagavad Gita 8:17. Sahasra Yuga Paryantam Aharyan Brahmano Vidu. And in the purport there, Prabhupada actually calculates the life of Brahma on that planet. It's 311 trillion and 40 billion Earth years is that lifetime. And the verse here that Prabhupada has cited, the translation is, by human calculation, 1,000 ages taken together form the duration of Brahma's one day, and such also is the duration of his night. We cannot calculate even 12 hours of Brahma with our mathematical figures, but even Brahma has to die. Even though one may have a long duration of life, no one can live permanently in this material world. Nonetheless, if one prepares oneself, one may go to the higher planetary systems, or similarly, one may go to the Pitralokas, that's the ancestors' planets. There, one may meet one's forefathers, if they have been eligible to go there. Similarly, if one desires, one may also remain here on earth. Or, yanti madhyajino bhimam. If one becomes the devotee of Krishna, one can go to him. And that's also Bhagavad Gita 9:25. So one may go to hell, one may go to heaven, or one may go back home, back to Godhead, as one likes. Therefore, an intelligent person should think, if I have to prepare for my next life, why not prepare to go back home, back to Godhead? One's present body will be finished, and then one will have to accept another body. What kind of body one will accept is stated in Bhagavad Gita 14:18. And this is a translation of that verse. Those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets, and those in the abominable mode of ignorance go down to the hellish worlds. Urdvam gachati sattvastaha. Those who are in the mode of goodness, avoiding the four principles of sinful life, will live their next life on a higher planetary system. Even if one does not become a pure devotee of the Lord, if one follows the regulative principles for avoiding sinful life, one will remain in goodness and get this opportunity. Human life is meant for this purpose, but if we waste our life just living like cats and dogs, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, then we shall lose this opportunity. Rascals, however, do not know this. They do not believe that there is a next life. In Russia, a professor, Professor Kotovsky, told me, Swamiji, after this body is finished, everything is finished. He is a big professor, yet still he said that. Such men may pose as scientists and philosophers, but actually they have no knowledge, and they simply mislead others. I looked up this Professor Kotovsky, and he was the head of South Asian Studies at a university in Russia. And they had arranged for Prabhupada to speak to a large group of people, and it wasn't allowed. it was during communist reign. And then they were going to just speak with some professors, and they wouldn't allow that either. So they only allowed Prabhupada to talk with this one professor, and he rejected what Prabhupada was saying, even though he was a professor of the subject. Very interesting. Anyway, back to our text. This is our greatest source of grief, and therefore I have requested the members of the Krishna consciousness movement to challenge and defeat these rascals who are misleading the entire human society. People should not think that the devotees of Krishna are mere sentimentalists. On the contrary, the devotees are the greatest philosophers and the greatest scientists. Bhaktivinoda says about the Kotovsky story, that's scary. I know, it was very strange. I wondered what had happened to him, but I couldn't find what happened to him. I only found these little snippets of what happened during their meeting. Krishna has two engagements. Paritranaya sadunam vinashaya chaduskritam. That's Bhagavad Gita 4:8. Giving protection to the sadhus, the devotees, and killing the demons. Krishna gave protection to the Pandavas and Vrishnis because they were devotees, and he also killed demons like Kamsa, Aghasura, and Bakasura. Of the two engagements, his killing of the demons was his major occupation. If we examine how much time he devoted to killing and how much time he devoted to protecting, we shall find that he devoted more time to killing, which is, I never really thought of it that way. Anyway, similarly, those who are Krishna conscious should also kill, not by weapons, but by logic, by reasoning, and by education. If one is a demon, we can use logic and arguments to kill his demonic propensities and turn him into a devotee, a saintly person. Especially in this present age, Kali Yuga, people are already poverty-stricken, and physical killing is too much for them. They should be killed by argument, reasoning, and scientific spiritual understanding. Greece says, well, Krishna's thinking the only good demon is a dead one. Yes. Kunti addresses Krishna as Vishvesha. Remember, I asked you to remember those three words. This is one of them, Vishvesha, the Lord of the universe. Vishva means universe, and Isha means Lord or controller. The universal affairs are going on so now nicely, with the sun rising just on time, the seasons changing, and the seasonal fruits and flowers making their appearance. Thus, there is no mismanagement. But how are these things going on so nicely if there's no controller? If we see any establishment going on very well, we immediately understand that the manager, director, or controller of the institution is expert. Similarly, if we see the universal affairs going on nicely, we must know that behind them is a good controller. And who is that controller? That controller is Krishna, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 9:10. Mayad yakshena prakriti suyate characharam. That verse complete is, this material nature is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, and it is producing all moving and unmoving beings. By its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. So therefore, Kunti addresses him as Vishvesha, the controller of the universe. People are interested only in pictures of Krishna embracing Radharani, that depict the dealings of Radha and Krishna to be like those of ordinary boys and girls. They don't understand Krishna. Such obnoxious pictures should be avoided. Krishna is the supreme controller. Let there be a picture showing how Krishna is controlling the whole universe. That kind of picture is wanted, not these cheap pictures. Unless the living force is present within the body cannot move or work nicely. And similarly, within the universe, the cosmic manifestation, Krishna is present as the living force. Kshirodakshai Vishnu, or Paramatma. Therefore, Kunti addresses Krishna as Vishvatma, the soul of the universe. Rascals do not know how this world is moving and how this universe is acting, and therefore they should learn from Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhaktamimulus has, there are a couple of comments here. Bhaktamimulus says it's interesting to think of just how much of you Krishna controls. How much Krishna is controlling us. That's what I meant to say. He controls what we experience. Yes. And Bhakta Greece says, so I can't draw a stick figure of Krishna. My art skills are subpar. What does that relate to? Sorry. Bhaktivinoda says, he controls what we experience because that's our karma. Yes. And Greece is typing something because I see his hands moving to avoid the wrong picture of Krishna and his girlfriend. Oh, I see. Right. He's just asking us to avoid those cheap pictures. That people are just more interested in this, what appears to be a sexual relationship, but isn't. And he asks that we instead look at other pictures about, quality pictures, Radha and Krishna, quality pictures of Krishna. I mean, all the pictures we have in our Bhagavatam and all the different Prabhupada's books are just so superior. They're such amazing paintings that people did, all under the direction of Srila Prabhupada. All right. Kunti Devi also addresses Krishna as Vishvamurti, the personality of the form of the universe. When Arjuna wanted to see Krishna's universal form, Krishna immediately manifested it. This is another of Krishna's opulences, Vibhuti. So Murti, our deities, are often referred to as Murti, deities on the altars, the form, Murti is form, so the personality of the form of the universe. The original form of the Lord. Oh, and then Prabhupada refers to the universal form where Krishna just shows Arjuna absolutely everything. That's one with he's got a million heads and a million things are going on around him, and the universal form. So this is another of Krishna's opulences, Vibhuti. The original form of the Lord, however, is Krishna with two hands, playing on the flute. Because Arjuna was a devotee and wanted to see the universal form, Krishna showed it to him. But that was not his actual form. A person may dress himself as a king, but his real natural appearance is shown at home. Similarly, Krishna's real form is seen at home in Vrindavan, and all other forms are expansions of his plenary portions. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam. He can expand himself in millions and millions of forms, Anantarupam, but he is one, Advaita, and he is infallible, Achyuta. His real form, however, is the Dvibhuja Muralidhar, the form with two hands holding a flute. Therefore, Kunti Devi says, you have your universal form. The form in which you are standing before me is your real form. So there's all kinds of comments in chat. So Bhaktivinoda says, Krishna and Radha's experience is between them. Yes. Bhaktivinoda also says, imagine you believe in a world and he showed up blue. That would be cool. You lived in a world and he showed up blue. That would be awesome. Hopefully our next life, right? That'll happen. We'll be working like Prabhupada says. We can go up, we can down, or we can go home. So We're going to go home. That's our prayer. Please let us go home. Kunti Devi prays, please sever my tie of affection for my kinsman. We are thinking, this is my own, that is my own. But this is moha, illusion. Janasya mohoyam aham mameti. How does this illusion come into existence? That phrase there is from Srimad Bhagavatam 558, and the full verse is, the attraction between male and female is the basic principle of material existence. On the basis of this misconception, which ties together the hearts of the male and female, one becomes attracted to his body, home, property, children, relatives, and wealth. In this way, one increases life's illusions and thinks in terms of I and mine. So how does this illusion come into existence? It begins with a natural attraction between man and woman. A male seeks a female, and a female seeks a male, or other combinations. This is true not only in human society, but also in bird society, beast society, and so on. This is the beginning of material attachment. When a man finds a woman and they unite, this attachment becomes even more firmly established. Yor mito hridai, grantim ahu. This is from that same verse. Now, after the attachment increases to some degree, man and woman look for an apartment in which to live together, and then, of course, the man needs to earn money. When they are well settled, they must have children, and also some friends to come and praise them. Oh, you have such a nice apartment and such nice children. In this way, one's attachment increases. A student's education, therefore, should begin with brahmacharya, which means freedom from sexual attachment. If he can, he should try to avoid all this nonsense. If not, he can marry and then after some time enter vanaprastha, retired life. At that time one thinks, now that I have enjoyed this attachment so much, let me leave home. Then the man travels all over to various places of pilgrimage to become detached. The wife goes along with him as an assistant. After 2 or 3 months, he again comes home to see that his children are doing nicely, and then again goes away. This is the beginning of detachment. When the detachment is complete, the man tells his wife, now you go live with your children, and I shall take sannyas, the renounced order of life. This is final detachment. The whole Vedic way of life is meant for detachment, and therefore Kunti prays, kindly help detach me from this family attraction. This is Kunti Devi's instruction. And thus ends our chapter for tonight. To me, this is a very controversial chapter. As a woman, it doesn't really, Bhaktivinoda says it's heavy duty. At the end, he says, well, so the woman goes and assists, and then the man leaves, and she gets to go stay with her children. But yet it's Kunti Devi who has brought on the whole subject. She wants to be divorced, detached from all of it. So I think that there are many avenues that people can take for this goal of detachment. You don't have to leave. You can stay home. You can do whatever you need to do to be more. The goal is to become not so much detached, but attached to Krishna. So whatever you can do to make yourself more attached to Krishna, to develop that relationship with Krishna, to work on all those different processes of devotional service, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Vandanam, all those things. Do more of those. Do the ones you like the best. Bhaktivinoda has comments. Women can profit the same as men from proper detachment. Yes. Bhakti Greece says, I seriously doubt my sisters will find husbands. They are married to their jobs instead. So that also is a kind of detachment. In Bhakti, that detachment might be as a pujari or as a singer or as a scholar um, or as a cook or whatever, your job would be it. Greece also says nowadays women can live without us guys. Yes, we can. So you guys need to either step up and become more attractive or move out of the way. But Krishna, always the most attractive. Uh, so find a way to become more attractive to Krishna. Find a way to develop that relationship that you have with Krishna. Prabhupada says, Dasya, serving uh, is the most basic of developing that relationship. So any kind of service you can do for Krishna or the devotees will help develop that relationship with the devotees and give you favor in the eyes of Radharani. We just read Radharani is the one who recommends you to Krishna. So if she sees that you're doing such nice service for the devotees, she'll say, oh, this is a nice devotee right here. And then boom, you are purchasing Krishna with your bhakti. Greece says, my mom drilled Jesus into my sister's skull. That will never happen. Oh, that happens. Bhagavat says, keep your eye on the little blue boy. Yes. Keep your eye on that guy there. Greece has one more thing to add. Then I think we'll stop. Greece says he was bored with Jesus and the church, so he never got brainwashed. Well, I spent a very happy time at my church and did all kinds of things, and it was actually a very good experience. So just, I think, depends on the church you go to and the people around you as to how your Christian church experience is, especially as a child. So he says, not for me. I hated sitting still in church. See, yeah, I didn't sit still in church. I was in the choir and the youth group and the this and the that and whatever. I was there all the time. There is a nice one here. I'm surprised I don't go to church. Well, you have your Thursday group and you have your deities at home. See, and that's the thing, is that once you might get to a point where the social aspect, the group aspect is not as fulfilling as it may have once been, and that your own company and the company of your deities or whatever kind of bhakti you're involved in is much more satisfying. And so you stay home. That's fine. Bhakti Mimila says, yes, that does it for me. I like Krishna conscious meetings better. Yeah, me too. All right, my friends, we kind of went over more than we should have, but it was a wonderful discussion. Thank you so much for coming, and all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Are the
Hare
mics?
Krishna to you, and thank you for reading for us tonight, Dasi.
You're very welcome, Grace.